On September 1, time officially began to run out after Archangel Michael discovered a cursed object hiding in your home that's been blocking your financial breakthrough. Do you know where it is before it costs you everything? On the morning of September 1, a veil was torn. Heaven shifted its gaze. A divine turning point was marked in the unseen realm, and time, sacred time, began to run out. This was not the ticking of ordinary clocks, but a holy countdown initiated by divine intervention. On that day, Archangel Michael, the warrior of the Most High, drew his flaming sword and descended, not to destroy, but to expose. For in the midst of your home, hidden among the ordinary, a cursed object lies dormant, cloaked in deception, draining your breakthrough in silence. This is not a message for all. No, this is for the ones who feel the ache of delay in their bones. For the ones who have cried out, "Lord, what's blocking me?" and received silence that felt like abandonment. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. For the Spirit has whispered your name into the ears of angels, and what was once concealed is now being unveiled. Archangel Michael has found it. He has seen what you could not. An object touched by darkness, placed, either through ignorance or intention, as a gatekeeper to your next level. It does not scream. It does not move. It simply sits, silent, still and spiritually fatal. But not anymore. The exposure has begun. But be warned, this discovery is not to be approached with haste or impulsive emotion. This is a moment for discernment, for silence, for spiritual obedience. Heaven does not reveal such things for entertainment, but for enforcement. The moment demands caution, not chaos. The object is a spiritual snare, and your breakthrough has been bound to its presence. Time is running out. September 1 marked the breach. Now each day is a step toward either freedom or further frustration. Do not ignore the voice within you stirring. It is the Spirit Himself beckoning you to awaken. The blessing you've been crying out for may already be in your house, but blocked by what you've allowed to remain hidden. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. In the name of the Most High, under the authority of Heaven's throne, and by the command of the Lord of hosts, I invoke the presence of the living God and the holy warrior, Archangel Michael, who stands at the gates of divine judgment, flaming sword drawn, eyes burning with righteous fire. From the courts of eternity, the cry has gone out. The time is no longer distant. The countdown has begun. From September 1, time officially began to run out. You have felt it in your spirit, an unease, a pressure, a spiritual suffocation that words could not name. It has followed you through the rooms of your home like a silent shadow, yet you could not trace its source. Because the curse was never designed to be visible to the natural eye. It was meant to blend in, to belong, to be ignored. But what hides in comfort has now been confronted by heaven. This message is not for the many. This is not for the lukewarm. This is not for the skeptical. This is a divine alert for the awakened, for the set apart, for the blood-marked children of God who have wrestled with delay and dared to ask, "Why is my breakthrough not breaking through?" You were never blocked by lack. You were never abandoned by God. But something has been sitting in the corner of your home, holding back the hand of release. This is not mere superstition. This is spiritual strategy. A cursed object, a tether, a token, a transfer of generational bondage, was permitted access and now is draining what heaven ordained for your hands. It may carry the scent of the past, the voice of an ancestor, or the memory of a relationship long broken. It might be jewelry, an old book, an idol passed off as daycare. And while you've prayed, fasted, and waited, this object has stayed like a dam in the river of your provision. Archangel Michael has seen it. On September 1, the veil was lifted and the location exposed. What was once silent is now screaming in the spirit. The curse has been discovered, but the battle has just begun. This is not the time to act in fear. This is not the time to cleanse your home in panic. This is the hour of stillness and obedience. For the enemy counts on your impulsiveness. But heaven is calling for alignment, not hysteria. You must move, but only under divine instruction. And you must understand the magnitude of this hour. This object is not random. It was chosen, cursed, and carefully positioned as a snare for your destiny. Its presence is spiritual sabotage, blocking finances, clouding peace, delaying healing. What was meant to bless has been caught in a net of spiritual interference. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is warfare. But here is the truth hell doesn't want you to know. If it's being exposed, it means your breakthrough is dangerously close. You would not be receiving this word unless heaven had already scheduled your release. The only thing left now is your response. Do you remain passive? Or do you align? Do you question the call? Or do you obey the prompting? Do you panic? Or do you posture yourself in prayer? Archangel Michael has already drawn his sword. Now it is your turn to rise, not with flesh, but with fire. Type "I receive this word" in the comments to activate your breakthrough. Blessing code 911 is now surrounding your household. There is a mystery unraveling in your life. Threads that no one else sees, knots that keep tightening every time you try to move forward. You have prayed, you have fasted, you have declared, and yet the blessings feel delayed, strangled, or altogether lost. Doors that once opened quickly now creak with resistance. Opportunities that look certain collapse in silence. Money flows in, but disappears like smoke in the wind. And you've wondered, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? But hear this clearly, it is not always you. It is what's been allowed near you. Something is resting within your walls that has no right to remain. A cursed object, cloaked in normalcy, disguised as a gift, a memory, or a decoration, has embedded itself within your spiritual atmosphere. And since September 1, heaven has been trying to get your attention. You see, the curse is not loud, but it's effective. It doesn't shout. It whispers through closed doors. It doesn't break windows. It bends timelines. It doesn't scream like a demon. It clings like a shadow. And while others may see you smile on the outside, deep inside you've been carrying a weight you could never fully describe. Restless nights, sudden anxiety, an unexplained grief, and a persistent feeling that something is off, but you couldn't explain why. Some around you know part of the story. Friends have offered advice. Family has tried to speak peace. Even spiritual leaders may have prayed over you, but they couldn't quite locate the root. Because this wasn't meant to be easily detected. This curse was planted generations ago or invited in through a moment of emotional vulnerability. It came in unnoticed, and now it sits, silently sabotaging the atmosphere of your home. You've asked why you keep circling the same mountain. Why relationships collapse just when healing begins. Why money seems to vanish right when you need it most. Why peace is present one moment and gone the next. Could it be that something in your house has been working against you while you've been praying for your release? Yes, it could. And this is not to shame you. This is to free you. You are not cursed, but something around you is. And its presence is drawing confusion, fatigue, and delay. The enemy has sown it like a weed in your soil. But God is calling you to examine everything with spiritual eyes. You must begin asking different questions. What did I allow in that God never told me to keep? What sits in my home that carries memories of bondage? What item keeps me emotionally tied to a place God delivered me from? Because until it is revealed, it will continue to interrupt the flow of divine favor in your life. But listen closely. This exposure is not to destroy you. It is to deliver you. For heaven never reveals what it does not intend to remove. This discovery will bring clarity, and clarity will bring acceleration. The mystery is being solved because the season is shifting. You are on the brink of release. But the question remains, do you know where it is before it costs you everything? Type "I break the curse" in the comments if you feel this we're exposing something. Blessing code 444 is moving through your household. Beloved, if this message is stirring your spirit, it's because heaven is moving in your house. Every word you've just heard is part of a divine assignment to rescue souls and remove hidden curses. When you give into this ministry, you're not helping a platform. You're helping heaven invade homes. You're sowing light into darkness, unlocking rivers where drought once lived. The word says, "He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed." And today, that promise is yours. I feel in my spirit, someone is being led right now to sow a breakthrough seed. This moment is sacred. Support the mission through super thanks, membership, or a direct offering through PayPal. The link is in the description below. Let your giving be a prophetic act that breaks the curse and activates overflow. Open heavens are moving over givers. The oil is flowing. Don't delay. Partner with the word that just awakened your destiny. Listen closely. This is not coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is not just one of those seasons people talk about. No, what you've been facing is warfare. What you've been navigating is not emotional, it is spiritual. The cursed object discovered by Archangel Michael is not merely symbolic, it is strategic. It is a weapon, a spiritual snare deliberately positioned to block, to drain, and to delay what heaven has already released for your life. It was placed to frustrate your calling, to distract your focus, to choke the flow of finances and disconnect you from divine timing. You have been caught in a war you didn't even know was happening. But now the veil has lifted, and what was hidden in the shadows has been pulled into the light. This is why things haven't made sense. This is why cycles keep repeating. This is why your anointing hasn't yet reached its full expression. Because there has been a silent resistance sitting inside your home, a spiritual marker, a cursed entry point, and it's been speaking against your destiny without using words. But the Spirit of God says, enough is enough. The war has been declared, and the time of exposure is now. You must understand, the cursed object is not just random clutter. It is not meaningless. It is not harmless. It is an agent of interference. Whether it was brought in knowingly or unknowingly, it serves as a legal foothold for spiritual darkness to linger. And darkness doesn't need a wide open door. It only needs a crack. And that crack becomes a floodgate if it is never sealed by obedience. What you're dealing with is real. And this is not about fear. This is about authority. This is about knowing who you are and what you carry. You are chosen. That's why this happened to you. You are marked by God. That's why the enemy had to find another way in. He couldn't curse you, so he cursed what was around you. He couldn't stop you from praying, so he tried to drain your belief by contaminating your atmosphere. He couldn't remove the anointing, so he tried to confuse your access to it. But now that you know, the outcome is up to you. Because this is a moment of decision, and how you respond will determine what unfolds next. If you respond in fear, you may miss the instruction. If you respond in panic, you may act without discernment. But if you respond in faith, heaven will move in ways that will leave you undone. You are not just a person under attack. You are a vessel under construction. You are a warrior rising from disruption. The pain you felt was not random. It was the pressure of your calling pushing through the resistance. And now that heaven has located the blockage, you have to choose. Will you trust what you see with your natural eyes, or will you obey what the Spirit is whispering? Archangel Michael is fighting on your behalf even now. His sword is drawn. The angels are on assignment. And the Lord of hosts has released permission for your deliverance. But your response is the key. The cursed object must be removed. But more importantly, the spiritual alignment must be restored. Heaven sees what man does not. And what God reveals, he always redeems. This is your moment to rise, not in fear, but in fire. Type "I choose faith" in the comments if this word has ignited your spirit. Blessing code 1717 is now active over your decision. Hear this now, not as a suggestion, but as a divine announcement. The object that Archangel Michael revealed was never intended to remain hidden forever. September 1 marked the shift, the moment when the seal was broken in the spirit. And from that point forward, the curse attached to this object began to move. It is not dormant. It is not still. It is not passive. It is active. It is hungry. It is draining. And if left unchallenged, it will not stop until it devours what you've prayed for, what you've worked for, and what heaven intended to release. This is not a metaphor. This is a countdown. A sacred one. For within 72 hours of receiving this revelation, the effects of the curse deepen. Like ink spreading through water, it begins to touch areas that had once been untouched. Finances suddenly dip, relationships grow tense, sleep is broken, focus is scattered, and pressure mounts from nowhere. You feel it in your chest. You sense it in the atmosphere. Something is off, something is growing darker, but no one else sees it. You've been under spiritual surveillance. And while you've been trying to move forward in faith, this object has been working against you in silence. But now, its time is short, and that's why the battle is intensifying. Some of you reading this have already noticed it. The headaches. The anxious tossing in the middle of the night. The loss of appetite. The fights breaking out over nothing. The sudden bills. The unexpected betrayals. It's not random. It's residue. Residue from a curse that was meant to remain hidden until your promise drew near. And now, your promise is dangerously close. Someone, perhaps unknowingly, perhaps deliberately, opened a door. It may have been a gift. It may have been passed down. It may be something you bought without thinking twice. but it carries a chain, a spiritual assignment, and heaven has now intercepted it. But here's the part that may shock you. When you discover what the object is, it will not look evil. It may not look threatening. In fact, it may look harmless, familiar, sentimental. But its history holds trauma. Its roots are not pure. And its presence is a contradiction to the covenant you've made with God. That is why discernment, not emotion, is required. You must not assume you know what it is. You must ask heaven to reveal it. This is your warning. Do not ignore the signs. Do not brush off the resistance. And do not mistake delay for God saying no. Sometimes the delay is the byproduct of a spiritual battle raging over the territory of your home. You are not crazy. You are not paranoid. You are under attack, but you are also under divine surveillance. And heaven does not alert without also preparing to act. What you feel is real. The heaviness, the oppression, the sense that something invisible is working against you. These are not feelings. They are signals, prophetic indicators. And if you stay passive now, the enemy will escalate. But if you posture yourself in spiritual alertness, the curse can be disarmed before it causes any more destruction. You have 72 hours. Not to panic. Not to tear apart your home in fear, but to align with God, to seek Him in stillness, and to allow the Spirit to show you exactly what must be removed. The window is open, but it will not remain open forever. What you do next determines everything. Type "I will not miss this window" in the comments. Blessing code 333 is covering your home with divine urgency and protection. Be still. Be still, beloved. This is not the hour to move with human hands, but to yield to holy instruction. The war has already been initiated in the heavens. Archangel Michael has drawn his sword and stands guard over your home, not in reaction, but in authority. What you are facing cannot be fought with physical strength or natural logic. It must be confronted through stillness. It must be disarmed by obedience. For in this very moment, heaven is warring where you cannot see, and the divine command is clear. Do not panic. God fights when you don't. Yes, the cursed object has been exposed. Yes, time is short. But do not let urgency birth fear. Fear is the language of the enemy. It will always push you to act without discernment, to speak without clarity, to destroy what needs to be handled with precision. This is not the moment to go tearing through your home in a frenzy. This is the moment to stand still and know that He is God. The battle is not yours, it is the Lord's. You must quiet your spirit. Silence is not inactivity. Silence is strategy. Silence is the sanctuary where God whispers the revelation you cannot hear in chaos. The cursed object, whatever it may be, cannot endure the presence of divine peace. That is why the enemy tries to stir fear, confusion, and distraction. Because stillness kills what chaos conceals. Do not call everyone. Do not seek 100 voices. Do not announce what God is doing prematurely. You are not being called to exposure. You are being called to possession. Possession of your peace. Possession of your authority. Possession of your spiritual territory. The object will be revealed not through panic, but through peace. For when you walk in peace, the object will lose its power. It will begin to feel out of place. It will disturb you, not in fear, but in knowing. You will sense it. You will recognize it. The Holy Spirit will whisper, "That's it." And in that moment, the power to remove it will be released. This is not superstition. This is spiritual technology. Heaven operates by law and order. And the Spirit of God is not chaotic. He will not send you in blindly. He will speak when you are ready to hear. So cleanse your space through worship. Saturate the atmosphere with prayer. Anoint your doors, not in fear, but in faith. Declare aloud, "My house belongs to the Lord." No cursed thing may remain. Speak it into every room. Walk with authority. Not in a rush, but in rhythm with the Spirit. There are some things only heaven can remove, but there are others God will wait for you to remove. The cursed object falls into the latter. God will reveal, but He will not reach down and discard it for you. He is calling you into agreement, into action, into maturity. For this is not just about your breakthrough. This is about your growth, your authority, your alignment. Cover your household in declarations. Lay your head down at night and say, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." When you wake, declare, "Every enemy of my destiny is being evicted from my life." For the word says, "You shall not need to fight in this battle. Set yourselves, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord." You are not defenseless. You are not surrounded. You are shielded. You are seen. You are sealed. And what was designed to harm you is already beginning to fail under the weight of God's glory. Type "I am shielded by heaven" in the comments. Blessing code 1212 is covering you now with divine protection and strategy. You are no longer who they thought you were. You are no longer the version of yourself that tolerated spiritual interference, walked in uncertainty, or bowed under the weight of invisible resistance. The moment Archangel Michael revealed the cursed object, heaven sent a signal that your status had shifted. You are no longer the one under attack. You are now the one reclaiming territory. The enemy thought you would remain in confusion. The enemy assumed you would keep living under the delay. But what hell failed to calculate was this: you are awakening. And when the chosen awaken, strongholds begin to tremble. Let me say this to your spirit: you are not a victim of this attack. You are the weapon God is raising in the middle of it. You are the fire in your bloodline. You are the reversal in your family's narrative. You are the interruption to the generational cycles of loss, poverty, depression, and defeat. What once sat in your home to keep you bound is now about to witness your breakthrough. What once silenced your voice is about to feel the weight of your roar. This cursed object, once hidden, is now nothing more than a failed attempt to derail someone heaven has already marked. That's you. You are marked. You are anointed. And you are rising. Not as a panicked believer hoping for escape, but as a prophetic warrior commanding the winds of change. You are not just cleaning your house, you are cleansing your atmosphere. You are not just removing an item, you are dismantling a throne that was illegally set up in your environment. Hear this clearly: the fire is falling, not to destroy you, but to consume everything that's been holding you hostage. God is not just bringing deliverance, He's igniting transformation. He's not just removing what was cursed, He's revealing what was covered. Your potential, your discernment, your spiritual authority. These have been developing even in delay, even in warfare, Even when you didn't feel strong, something in you was strengthening. Hidden growth has been taking place. While the enemy was planting sabotage, God was building resilience in your spirit. Now, you are rising like wings from the ashes. You are stepping into a new spiritual posture. No longer bowed down by fear, but upright in fire. No longer quieted by confusion, but filled with divine clarity. No longer wondering if you'll survive, but knowing you've been chosen to thrive. The weapon may have been formed, but it didn't prosper. And now, the fire in your voice, the authority in your feet, and the oil upon your life is signaling to every dark power, I am not the same. The old identity has expired. The old mindsets have been evicted. The old atmosphere no longer fits. There is a holy elevation taking place inside you. From this moment on, you do not shrink when warfare comes. You do not run when resistance rises. You stand, knowing that all of heaven is behind you, that angels have been assigned to you, that glory is working through you, and that no cursed object, no past mistake, no generational tie can override what God has already sealed on your life. You are not just removing something physical, you are reclaiming something eternal. Your purpose, your peace, your place in divine destiny. You are walking out of this with fire in your bones and a sword in your spirit. The enemy wanted to keep you bound by what was hidden in your home. But now, you've been unleashed. Type I am rising in fire in the comments. Blessing code 888 is now releasing angelic empowerment over you. Now hear the word of the Lord. The curse was not exposed to shame you. It was revealed to elevate you. It was never about destruction. It was always about deliverance. The object that lay hidden in your home, concealed in plain sight, had an expiration date placed upon it by the courts of heaven. And September 1 marked the divine moment when the spiritual embargo was lifted. What blocked you has now been forced into the light, because what God is about to release over your life can no longer be delayed. You must understand, this is not just a moment of exposure. This is a moment of activation. The curse was only permitted to be seen now because your season of containment has ended. You were not ready before, but now your spirit is ripe. Now your heart is postured. Now your hands are clean. The heavens are thundering with movement, and the angels are descending with scrolls that carry your name, your next assignment, and your next dimension. What has been locked is now being loose. For months, maybe even years, your prayers seemed to bounce off the walls. You gave. You fasted. You worshipped. But the heavens felt silent, the provision withheld, the doors sealed shut. But God says this to you now. It wasn't denial, it was divine delay. Because the blessing had to wait until the blockage was exposed. For God is too wise to pour new wine into an atmosphere still infected with spiritual sabotage. He had to purge it. He had to peel back the layers. And now that it has been revealed, it must be released. I prophesy this over you now. Your name has been spoken in heaven. Your file has been opened. Your tears have been measured and your cries remembered. The angels have been briefed and the embargo has been broken. Now, the vaults of heaven are opening. Financial release is coming like a river, not a drop. Unexpected promotions, divine recognition, supernatural transactions, open doors you didn't apply for. These are not dreams. These are prophecies in motion. The curse tried to cut off your supply, But God never stopped writing your story. Yes, you were delayed, but you were never denied. Yes, the object was cursed, but you were always blessed. And now the divine exchange is happening. Where you were overlooked, you will now be seen. Where you were denied, you will now be called. Where you were bound, you will now soar. Because heaven is no longer waiting on your readiness. Heaven is responding to your obedience. You dared to believe. You dared to align. And now God is about to do what eyes have not seen. This is your moment of release. Not just from the object, but into your destiny. You are stepping into rooms where your name has already been whispered. Contracts are coming. Favor is flowing. Restoration is being finalized. And the curse that tried to contain you will now be a testimony that crowns you. Type "My name is spoken in heaven" in the comments. Blessing node 999 is now unlocking supernatural recognition and reward. If this word is piercing your spirit, it's because heaven is writing your name into a new chapter. You're not just receiving prophecy, you're stepping into it. And when you sow into this movement, you become a messenger of that same breakthrough to others. Your support doesn't elevate a platform. It opens portals for souls still trapped under curses. This is holy ground. And when you give, you become a divine activator. I hear the Spirit saying, as you release it, I will release it. Let your seed of support, through super thanks, membership, or PayPal link in description, be your yes to God. Let it prophesy for you. Let it stand in the gap for your family. Let it declare, I'm part of what heaven is doing. Open heavens don't wait. Move with them now. Now that the object has been exposed, now that the curse has been uncovered, now that heaven has declared your release, the next move is yours. This is no longer about waiting. This is about activating. The word of the Lord to you now is this: speak, move, declare, rise. Your destiny is not passive. It is prophetic. It responds not just to God's will, but to your alignment. What heaven reveals must be partnered with, or it remains dormant. The curse has been discovered, yes, but the door to destiny opens only when you respond. You must now declare freedom with your mouth. You must now walk through your house, not in fear, but in full authority, and speak to every object, every corner, every portal, every item not aligned with the Spirit of God. This is not a physical purge. This is a spiritual eviction. And your voice is the key. Say it out loud. Every cursed thing must go. Every hidden delay must leave. My home belongs to the Lord. My life is free. My hands are clean. My name is written. My atmosphere is clear. Speak it until the air shifts. Speak it until peace settles. Speak it until what once resisted begins to retreat. The word says life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your declarations are weapons. You cannot be passive now. You cannot sit and wait. You must stand and move. For your deliverance is not just about what God does. It's about how you partner with what He's already shown you. Listen closely. There are some of you who will need to walk into that back closet open, that old box, look again at that inherited item that never felt right, and you'll feel it. You'll sense it. The Spirit will highlight it. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Obedience is better than sentiment. Throw it out. overturn it. Remove it. Do what the Spirit says. Because your obedience is the seed that will unlock a floodgate of divine favor. And make no mistake, this is not just about discarding a thing. This is about embracing a new version of you. You are rising into your full assignment. What you felt pressing against you was confirmation of the weight of your calling. What tried to delay you was only attracted to your divine momentum. You're not just clearing out clutter. You are making space for God's glory. You are saying, Heaven, I am ready. Heaven, I say yes. Heaven, I am aligned. It's time to activate. Heaven is watching. The angels are standing by. The gates are creaking open. Restoration is waiting, but it will not pour out until you speak the command. Your yes is not just permission for God to move. It is the unlocking of your next. You must do something physical to reflect what has happened spiritually. That cursed object had authority because it was permitted to stay. But now, with your action, its assignment is canceled. This is your moment to rise in boldness. This is your moment to act like the warrior heaven has called you to be. You don't need all the answers. You just need the fire. The same fire that called you out of delay is now fueling your movement into destiny. Walk it out. Declare it loud. Move prophetically. Let the Spirit lead. The oil is already flowing. Heaven is not waiting for perfection. It's waiting for your yes. Say it now. Say it with power. Heaven, I am ready. I will not delay. I'm moving. I am rising. I am activating my destiny. Type I say yes to destiny in the comments. Blessing code 5656 is now releasing the gates of acceleration and divine momentum. Right now, even as you listen to this message, something sacred is unfolding in the unseen. You may feel alone in your room. You may feel isolated in your situation. But I declare to you, with the authority of heaven, that the spirit realm is anything but silent. Archangel Michael is moving. The angels assigned to your name are in motion. There is a silent exchange happening above your head. An exchange where curses are being traded for blessings, where chains are being melted by fire, where that which was stolen is now being returned by force. This is not imagination. This is not poetic metaphor. This is the very heartbeat of the divine economy. For every demonic access point that has been revoked in your home, there is now a heavenly deposit being released in its place. Where darkness had legal ground, now the light is pouring in. The object that once operated like a spiritual magnet, drawing in resistance, poverty, chaos, has been cut off. And now, the atmosphere is shifting. But the real transaction isn't happening where your hands can see it. It's happening behind the veil. You felt the pressure. You sensed the discomfort. The nights you couldn't sleep, the moments of random panic, the spiritual unease when walking into certain rooms, those weren't just coincidences. Those were signs that your spirit knew something before your mind could interpret it. You were feeling the exchange in real time. You were picking up on the negotiation happening in heaven's courts on your behalf. And I hear the Spirit say, nothing you lost was wasted. Everything stolen is being transferred back. Yes, the enemy tried to delay you. Yes, he tried to steal your time, your finances, your energy. But God is not just a restorer, He is a redeemer. And redemption always comes with interest. Everything the object was draining from your life, God is now replenishing through this holy reversal. Where there was poverty, now comes abundance. Where there was anxiety, now comes supernatural peace. Where there was delay, now comes acceleration. The scales are tipping in your favor, and heaven is issuing repayment with divine interest. In the silence, heaven is speaking over you. This one is mine. This one is covered. This one is chosen. Your name is being spoken in rooms of authority. Your bloodline is being cleansed. Your territory is being enlarged. The spirit realm is responding to the authority you've stepped into. The atmosphere has shifted because you aligned with truth, and truth always provokes movement in the spirit. And let this sink deep into your soul. Some of what you felt was never even yours to carry. It was ancestral. It was transferred. It was permitted through generations past. But you are the one chosen to stop it. You are the interruption. You are the bloodline breaker. And the moment you remove the cursed object, the contract that darkness once held was shredded in the courts of heaven. Now, a new covenant is being written in your name. A fresh wind is moving. The angels are ascending and descending. The Holy Spirit is brooding over your life, and the voice of the Lord is declaring, restoration is here. You may not see it all yet, but the ripple is already in motion. What was lost is returning. What was delayed is accelerating. What was hidden is emerging. You are in the middle of a divine transaction, and you didn't even have to lift a finger. You just had to say yes. Type "the exchange is mine" in the comments. Blessing code 7777 is now unlocking divine recovery and overflow in your spirit. Heaven is not passive. Heaven is not blind. Heaven is not indifferent to what you've endured. Every tear you've cried in secret, every battle you fought in silence, every moment you were robbed of peace, joy, or provision, God has recorded it. And now the gavel is dropping in the courts of the Most High. Spiritual justice is not delayed justice. It is perfect justice. And that justice has now been set into motion. The cursed object that was discovered is not just being removed, it is being reversed. The very thing that was sent to destroy you is about to elevate you. The enemy thought he could move in darkness. He thought his subtle sabotage would go unnoticed. He thought he could plant spiritual poison in your home and watch you slowly wither under its influence. But he made one fatal mistake. He underestimated your covenant with God. He underestimated the covering on your life. He underestimated the reach of Archangel Michael's sword. And now, the curse is not only broken, it's turning back on its sender. I declare to you now, divine reversal has begun. What was launched against you in secret is being sent back with divine fury. The weapon that was formed has now become the instrument of judgment. The demonic agenda tied to that cursed object is being unraveled by angels, and the assignment has been canceled. Where there was oppression, now comes overflow. Where there was restriction, now comes release. You will not go backwards, you will only go forward from this moment on. Spiritual justice doesn't just restore what was lost, it multiplies it. God is not just giving back what the enemy stole. He's increasing it. For every sleepless night, you'll gain years of supernatural rest. For every dollar stolen through delay, you'll reap a harvest of divine wealth. For every door that was slammed in your face, God is building a palace with your name on it. And this time, no curse will ever come near it again. Let this truth saturate your soul. What was meant to bury you is now the very thing God is using to bless you. The object was cursed, yes, but because it came near you, it has now become a testimony. You are the evidence that spiritual justice is real. You are the living proof that heaven intervenes. You are walking into rooms your bloodline never entered. You are breaking ceilings your ancestors were trapped beneath. You are walking in the double portion, not because you demanded it, but because He decreed it. And make no mistake, this isn't over just because the object was found. No, this is just the beginning. What's unfolding now is an avalanche of divine order. Your name is being whispered into the ears of people with power. God is preparing people, places, and moments to receive you. And every person, every spirit, every force that worked against you, whether knowingly or in ignorance, will have no choice but to watch you rise. You've endured the silence. You've endured the confusion. But now the story has flipped. The final chapters are not marked by sorrow. They are marked by vengeance, recovery, and glory. You're not just getting back what you lost. You're about to step into what you never imagined possible. This is the hour of justice. The gavel has fallen. The curse has been judged. And the only thing left for you to do is walk in your reversal. Type justice is my portion in the comments. Blessing Ode 2323 is now releasing divine vengeance, favor, and unstoppable restitution over your life. The story ends with glory. The battle ends with blessing. What began as an urgent warning has now become a divine appointment. The cursed object that once hid in plain sight, quietly suffocating your breakthroughs, has been exposed not just for removal, but for remembrance. Remembrance of what God just did. Remembrance of who He says you are. Remembrance that His hand has always been on your life, even in the moments when delay and confusion clouded your view. Let this be sealed in your spirit. You are sealed. You are seen. And you are sent. You are sealed by the blood of Jesus, which no curse can ever override. You are seen by the eyes of heaven, which never sleep, never miss, and never forget. And now you are sent. Sent into a new season, a new level, a new flow. The object may have carried resistance, but you now carry fire. The opposition may have delayed the blessing, but it could never deny it. Because when heaven speaks, hell must yield. Walk through your house one more time, not in fear, not in haste, but in finality. Speak peace over your rooms. Declare rest over your nights. Lay hands on your wallet, and prophecy overflow. Anoint your doorposts and say, "No cursed thing may enter this dwelling again." You are not returning to the version of you that tolerated spiritual confusion. You are walking in divine clarity, divine positioning, and divine strength. Let the atmosphere bear witness. You are released. You are protected. You are rising. And nothing that tried to bind you will ever bind you again. Let every demon that whispered delay hear you declare, "I'm still here. I'm still chosen. I'm still going forward." The object was the enemy's last attempt, but your obedience was heaven's final word. And now the blessing is no longer blocked. It is flowing. Type "I am sealed and sent" in the comments. Blessing Ode 000 is now completing the circle of deliverance, restoration, and breakthrough in your life. Family, if this message confirmed what your spirit already knew, then it wasn't just a word, it was a rescue. And now, it's time to take this move of God and send it further. When you support this prophetic mission, you're not just helping a channel, you're releasing oil that reaches other households still bound by unseen chains. Your giving becomes part of the reversal. It becomes an act of justice. It becomes a key that unlocks freedom for others. I feel it. Some of you are being called to sow into this fire. Let your seed prophesy. Let your support declare, I stand with heaven's assignment. Whether through super thanks, membership, or a direct offering through PayPal link in the video description, let your act of faith echo the breakthrough you've just received. This is your moment to become a messenger of freedom for someone else. Heaven watches the giver, and the oil always flows where faith is sown. So now, activate someone else's deliverance.